Welcome all sports fans, YouTubers, Facebookers, all social media across the nation. Uneducated Network on YouTube. Yes, that's it right here. Presenting Uneducated Sports Talk. I'm your host, Clayton. And before we get down into some baseball news and special football news, please like and subscribe if you haven't to Uneducated Network, to where you see my show, Uneducated Sports Talk, and many other shows on our channel. We are more than just a YouTube channel. We are a way of life. So with that being said, please like and subscribe to Uneducated Network on YouTube. Let's get into it, guys. Hey, we got some special baseball news. Yes, I'm rocking the Pittsburgh Pirates hat today, getting it in. Big news coming from Milwaukee. After just signing Christian Yelich from the Marlins. Yes, the Marlins have just been letting everybody go. Look, the Brewers have just boosted up their outfield even more by getting Lorenzo Cain, who is personally one of my favorite baseball players, who played on a really good Kansas City Royals team. I'm happy that he got paid 5 years, $80 million. Lorenzo Cain is going to the Milwaukee Brewers to be with Christian Yelich. Now, hey, that offensive squad is amazing. He is getting to the zone, Lorenzo Cain, lifetime average of 290 batting. The guy is already known for his defense. He has timely hitting. He was third place in the American League MVP just a couple years ago when Kansas City made their run to the World Series and won it all. So, look, I love what he does. I love what he brings to the game. I love what he's going to bring to this Marlins team. Will that help them out? I mean, you still need pitching, let's be honest with this team. They need pitching. But Lorenzo Cain, leaving the Royals kind of hurt me, because now I know that the Royals are definitely going to lose out on any kind of chance they have with anybody keeping all those guys, all those great guys I've had over the last 3-4 years now. Those guys are going to be gone for sure. Once they let Lorenzo Cain go, that's pretty much all she wrote. I do like Lorenzo Cain, what he brings to the table. Hitting, speed, defense, outfield. He's going to be magnificent for that team. This was a team that drafted him a while ago in 2004 out of high school. He played in 2010 and they got traded, I think, for Zach Greinke. And him and a lot of people got traded for Zach Greinke back in those days, I think 2010. But since he's arrived with Kansas City, he's been one of the main players. He has been a beast. He's been an all-star. 5 years, $80 million, but it's also some added value, $300,000 extra per year if he can get an all-star appearance. Also, if he for some reason gets the MVP, I mean, hey, he was just third place a couple years ago. He can get that match right back up. He'll get an extra $500,000, if he can get that. So added motivation for him. This team offensively is going to be scary. Now, what they do with Ryan Braun, I'm not quite sure, because he is still the face of the franchise, if you want to call him that. And he's still a great hitter, timely hitter, but are they going to let him go? I think they might just let him go and try to add more pieces to it, because I think his time with the Brewers is slowly but surely coming to an end. But I'm excited for Lorenzo Cain, because he is still 31. That's still young, and he is still one of the more exciting guys in this game. Now, a lot of teams are trying to get him. The Dodgers were trying to get him. I believe the Cubs tried to get him at one point. So, look, teams want him. But I think he went to Milwaukee because he probably knows the city, and he was there pretty much his first 6 years. Well, in the majors, he was probably there for a few years, but he got drafted by Milwaukee. So I think that's the reason why he's going to Milwaukee. So big ups to Lorenzo Cain. I'm excited for him, and not excited for what the Royals are about to have happen to their team. This team was just on fire 3 years ago, and even 2 years ago, winning it all, going to back-to-back World Series. So we'll see what they go with this franchise. They had a great 2-year run. Even last year was decent. They just kind of fell off toward the end. There was a lot of good teams in the race last year, and Kansas City was one of those teams that kind of fell off the last month of the season. But Milwaukee, you never know. Being in the same division as St. Louis and Chicago, you know that St. Louis is going to bounce back from a bad year last year. So, being in the division with those guys, it's going to be kind of tough for them to even make progress. But we'll see what happens along the way. But that's our big Major League Baseball news for the day. Major League Baseball is only going to get more heated when it comes down to free agency, and I will bring you up to speed every time there's a big free agency name that goes out in the baseball. So we will, be on top of that. I promise you guys that. But I want to talk about really big news that just came out today. You guys remember, if you're old enough, do you remember the XFL back in 2001? The X stood for, I'm guessing, Extreme. Extreme Football League, which stands for anything else. Vince McMahon, yes, we said Vince McMahon, the owner of WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment. He is the one in 2001 that brought football out from not just the NFL, but another brand, XFL. And it was, look, it was a great idea at first, but then when you saw things on the field and you saw what they went through, look, check out ESPN 30 for 30 if you want to know the whole entire details of the XFL. It's a great show talking about how Vince McMahon failed XFL, and it was one and done, pretty much one and done. But guess what, guys? It is 2018, so that is 17 years later after it bust. And now Vince McMahon is bringing the XFL back. Yes, I said it. And this time he said no more gimmicks. If you weren't around the first time, check out a 30 for 30. But basically, it was wrestling mixed with football. I'm talking about the gimmicks and all the goofiness kind of. The football was still real, but they had a lot of stuff that outside of football that you can care less about during a football game. Well, Vince has publicly said he is done with that, the gimmick stuff. He's going to leave the WWE out of it. It's a separate company. He's leaving WWE out of it, and he's going to make it real football. But he says it's going to be faster, and it's not going to be boring. And he said he lists all kind of things. One saying that the game time might be 2 hours, period. Less commercials. He wants a more fan frenzy. There were questions also about what he stood about the policies of kneeling and stuff. He said, well, we're gonna not kneel. But my thing is, you want to go in there, if you want a successful league, you have to have your players being themselves. That is the only way you're going to beat the NFL. If you tell the players, look, be yourselves, follow these few simple rules, but be yourself. I mean, when I say simple rules, I'm talking about don't hit someone on top of the head with a football, those kind of rules. Be yourself. If someone wants to kneel, let them kneel. If someone wants to be themselves, let them be themselves. Because the only way you're going to be successful in this league the second time around is by letting guys be themselves. Will this compete with the NFL? Not by a long shot, not at least for the first couple of years. If he gets a good product on there, and the reason why they said they will start in the year 2020, last time they did it, they had 1 year. They had 1 year to get ready for it. And then when you brought guys in, those guys only had maybe a few months to get acclimated into their team, into their, the stadiums. So they had a lot of crazy stuff going on the first time. This time, they'll be more prepared. 8 teams will be playing in. It'll be a 10-week or 10-game season. There'll be a semifinal, 2 semifinal games and a championship game to crown the first champion. I'm really, really excited about this league because I think if you think about that, he's saying, well, people are going to compete. Nah, let's be real. He's going to try and find Tim Tebow, Johnny Manziel, Robert Griffin III probably, guys who are, Colin Kaepernick. You cannot say no to Colin Kaepernick, even though I don't think Colin Kaepernick will play in the league. But if Colin Kaepernick came knocking on your door and saying, I want to be the face of one of the faces of this organization, you got to do it. You got to do it. Yes, you might get publicly criticized for it, but think about all the talk about what's going to happen. Then people want to see Colin Kaepernick either fail or succeed in this league. So you gotta do that. Look, you can go in there and say, well, let the best guy be the best guy. Nah, the first year you gotta have star-studded guys. So I don't care who you get, whether it's Johnny Manziel or Robert Griffin III, guys that are out the playoffs, talking about quarterback-wise, Colin Kaepernick, you try and get Tim Tebow, those kind of guys. You might even bring, if Michael Vick is available, I'm just saying, you bring them in and let them play. I want to see those kind of guys in. So this also gives people a chance to, there's no minor league system besides the Canadian Football League, and those spots are all taken. So outside of that, you got to have more. And I think the XFL will be a better showing than the Canadian Football League. People just don't do it just because it's in Canada. But that's still some good football being played out there in Canada. I was very excited to hear about this news. I was a big XFL guy in 2001. Look, I was one of the guys who watched past the third week. I did. It just because I like football. But then they got a little bit too gimmicky and a little bit too corny for football. It's cool to have it in your wrestling ring. And I'm a diehard WWE fan. I watch wrestling all the time. But when you put those gimmicks in football, those two things don't match up. I don't like that. So I'm glad that he's taking a different approach this time, making it more about just football because he really wants to succeed. And Vince McMahon, he is the owner of all 8 teams. He is the overseer, just like in WWE. He's the guy that controls everything. And he said he's going to do that. He invested $100 million to a company who's going to take over the XFL. He said he tried to do a different name, but he said, no, XFL just stood out there. If you see it, if you want to see the logo, check it out. It's a totally different logo now. I do like the first logo, the red and the black, and it was kind of edgy. I like that. And if you remember the footballs that came with it, I had a personal XFL football, the black football with the red circles. Oh man, it was butter. But you know, times have changed now. He made it more appeasing to just the general population of fans. It will start January 2020, so be ready for that. Guys will be ready. Cities will be named pretty soon. Names of the actual teams will be named as well with the cities. I'm pretty sure city-wise, he's probably going with places not so big but not small either. You don't want to do a same team that's in the NFL right now, so he might go with something else, maybe somewhere in Oklahoma. Those kind of places, I can't really think about a huge name right now, but I'm one of the guys that is very excited for the XFL. If they do it and do it right, this could compete with the NFL in a 4 or 5 year process. If they do it right, if they don't do it right, Vince McMahon could be another one and done, and we don't want to see that, right? Maybe some people do. I don't know. So please comment down below. Is XFL good for us right now? Are you ready for the XFL? I want to hear your comments and what you think about the XFL. And also Lorenzo Cain getting paid big money. Is that a good fit in Milwaukee? Hey, put your comments down below. This is Uneducated Network presenting Uneducated Sports Talk. I'm your host, Clayton. And as always, sports fans, you know what time it is. Stay smart, stay uneducated. Peace.